I want to take a word away from you today. That word is trying. Not because effort is bad, not because the intention behind it doesn't matter, but because of what the word actually does when a man uses it, what it quietly gives him permission to do. And because I think most men have never had someone look them in the face and name it clearly. I'm trying to get up earlier. I'm trying to be more present with my family. I'm trying to get this business off the ground. I'm trying to get my faith back. Listen to the grammar of those sentences. Every single one of them describes the activity without accountability. Every one of them sounds like movement while building in an exit. Because trying, by definition, is not doing. Trying is a space between intention and commitment. And a man can live in that space for years, even decades, without ever being forced to confront the fact that he is not moving. Trying is the most socially acceptable form of not doing. Because when you say you're trying, nobody can call you out. You're not failing, you're in a process. You're not refusing, you're working on it. You are, by all appearances, man in motion. But that motion is circular. You are busy going nowhere and calling it progress. Matthew 5, verse 37. Jesus is not talking about willpower here. He's talking about the integrity of a man's word. Let a yes be yes and your no be no. Anything beyond this, any hedge, any qualification, any softening of the commitment comes from the evil one. That is a hard line. Jesus is saying that a man who cannot commit clearly is not being humble or cautious. He is being dishonest, not necessarily to others, but to himself. Trying a yes that has kept the door open for a no, and a yes with a no still inside it is not a yes. It is a performance of intention without the substance of commitment. And God, who sees what men perform versus what men actually are, is not impressed by the performance. Revelation 3, verses 15 and 16. I know your deeds, that you are neither cold nor hot. I wish you were either one or the other. Because you are lukewarm, I am about to spit you out of my mouth. This is the verdict on trying man, not the failing man. God has a great deal of patience for the man who commits fully and falls short. The verdict is on the man who never fully commits in the first place. The man who is warm enough to feel like he is in, but not hot enough to be actually all the way in. A man whose life is full of tries and almost starts, and I've been meaning to's. God would rather you be cold, fully out, fully honest about where you stand, than lukewarm, because lukewarm is a lie. It pretends to be engagement while functioning as avoidance. Here is the real question underneath all of this. Why do men try instead of do? It is not laziness. I want to say that again because I mean it. The men I'm talking to on this show are not lazy. They are men who think, who care, who have enough self awareness to know the gap between who they are and who they want to be. Laziness is not the problem. Problem is that doing is vulnerable in a way that trying is not. When you say you are trying to do something, you are not fully stake yourself on the outcome. I'll read that again. When you say you are trying to do something, you have not fully staked yourself on the outcome. You have created a buffer between yourself and the result. If it doesn't work out, if you don't follow through, if the thing fails, if you fall short, you were only trying. A failure does not land directly on your identity because your identity was never fully in the green. You gave it enough to say you were trying, not enough to be accountable for the result. Doing is different. Doing says, I'm all in, I am in, all the way. My word is on this. And if I fall short, I fall short as a man who committed, not as a man who was only ever attempting. That is a different kind of failure. It costs more, it's more exposed, and most men, even men who would not describe themselves as afraid, will unconsciously choose the protection of trying over the exposure of doing. Trying is armor, it protects you from the full weight of accountability. And the cost of wearing it is that you'll never find out what you're actually capable of because you have never fully tested yourself against anything real. James 4 verse 13 and 14 is different when you read it through this lens. The man who says today or tomorrow I will go to the city and do business and make money, God's response is not that the plan is wrong. This is the man is building his confidence on something he doesn't actually control. You do not know what will happen tomorrow. The future is not your for you. The future is not yours to possess. And a man who keeps his commitment contingent on future conditions, I'll really commit when the timing is better, when I have more resources, when I feel more ready, is a man who has made his obedience hostage to circumstances. Doing does not wait for ideal conditions. Doing is a decision that precedes the conditions, not the one that follow them. Joshua stood in front of the entire nation of Israel and did not say, let's try this. Let's see how it goes. Let's keep our options open. He said, choose this day, not eventually, not when you feel ready, today. And then he spoke for his own household with the full weight of a man who had already decided. As for me and my household, we will serve the Lord. That is what a committed man sounds like. No hedge, no qualifier, no trying, a declaration that has closed the door on the alternative. That kind of language is only possible for a man who has stopped trying and started doing. And it produces something in the people around him: clarity, a stability, a sense that this man can be trusted with hard things. That the trying man never produces because everyone around a trying man knows somewhere underneath the surface that he hasn't fully decided yet. And men who haven't fully decided yet are not safe to follow. Matthew 21, Jesus tells a story about two sons. Father goes to the first son and says, go to the vineyard today. The son says, no, I will not go. He is direct about it. He refuses. And then he changes his mind. He goes, he does the work. Father goes to the second son with the same request. The son says, yes, absolutely. I'll be there. And then he doesn't go. Jesus asked the crowd, which other two son, which other two sons did the will of his father? The first one, the one who said no and then went. I want you to sit with that second son for a moment. Because that is not a will, that is not a man with bad intentions. That is a man who meant it when he said yes. He probably did mean it in that moment. He probably had every intention of going. He just didn't go. Something came up or nothing came up and he just didn't go. That yes was real. The action wasn't. This is the trying man. He says yes with full sincerity and the yes evaporates somewhere between the intention and the execution. And Jesus is very clear that a sincere yes without action is worse than a blunt no followed by obedience. God is not impressed by the quality of your intentions. He is watching what you do with your feet. The first son did not have a better attitude. He did not have a warmer heart. He said no and then he went. The obedience was in the going, not in the feeling, not in the initial response, not in how good it looked when the father asked. This is the episode's central truth, and I want to say it as directly as I can. There is no such thing as trying. There is only doing or not doing. Everything in between is a story a man tells himself to avoid choosing. Colossians 3 verse 23 does not say, try at everything with half your heart while keeping your options open. It says, whatever you do, whatever you put your hand, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for outcomes, not contingent on results, not hedged against the possibility of failure. All of it, all your heart, every time. A man who does something with all his heart and fails is not the same man as a man who tries something and does not follow through. They are not in the same category. The first man is building something in himself, even in the failure. The second man is eroding something, his own trust in his own word, every time the try doesn't become a do. And that erosion compounds. Every time a man says he will try and doesn't follow through, his own sense of himself as a man who can be trusted, starting with uh, starting with being trusted by himself, gets a little smaller. He starts to speak with less certainty. He starts to commit with more qualifications. He starts to protect himself from the vulnerability of doing by staying permanently the space of trying until the trying is all there is. Let me be clear about what I am not asking you to do. I'm not asking you to be reckless. I'm not asking you to commit to everything immediately without discernment. There is wisdom in knowing what to say yes to and what to say no to. And Joshua's declaration was not made lightly. It came from a lifetime of watching God be faithful. Discernment before commitment is not the problem. The problem is when the discernment never ends, when the considering becomes a permanent state. Then a man who has already seen enough to know what he should do keeps finding reasons to stay in the deliberation instead of making a move. At some point, you have enough information. At some point, the thinking has run its course, and what remains is the decision. And that is the moment most men find a reason to need a little more time. Full commitment does not mean certainty about the outcome, it means certainty about the direction. Moses did not know the sea would open. He knew which way he was walking. That is the whole of what was asked of him. Not a guarantee of the result, commitment to the direction. What direction have you been circling instead of committing to? Not one thing you've been trying. The thing you already know you are supposed to do. The thing that when you are honest with yourself in the quiet, you know is not a question of whether, but a question of when. The thing where the only thing standing between you and doing it is the final act of closing the door or not doing it. A decision is only a decision when it has eliminated the alternative. Everything before that is deliberation, and deliberation, dressed up as commitment, is still just trying. Say yes or say no, but say it clearly. Say it with your whole chest, and then let your feet follow your mouth. This is what integrity means at the level of daily life. No grand moral stands. The alignment between what a man says and what a man does. The closing of the gap between intention and action. The transformation of the try into the do. Here's what I want you to do when this episode ends. Make a list, not a long one, just the things that come immediately to your mind. Every area in your life where you are currently trying, where you have been trying. The trying has been your answer for longer than it should have been. Write them down, look at them, and then for each one, make an actual decision, not a plan, not a renewed intention to try hard. Decision. Either you are doing this or you are not doing this. Either you are in or you are out. Either your yes is a yes or no is no. Some of these things, when you look at them honestly, you're going to decide are not yours to carry. And that is a legitimate outcome. Clean no is not failure. Clean no is honesty. Clean no frees you from the weight of a try that you were never actually going to follow through on. That is not defeat. That is clarity. And clarity is the beginning of everything. But some of those things, and you already know which ones they are not things you are going to say no to. They are things you have been trying because saying yes fully is terrifying. Because full commitment means full accountability. Because doing means you find out what you are actually made of. For those things, the ones that are yours, the ones that have your name on them, one the ones God has been waiting for you to stop trying and start doing. I'm asking you, decide today. Not to try harder, to decide. Close the door on not doing it, and then go do it. I know what I just asked of you. Some of you, that decision is going to reorganize your life, going to require you to stop performing motion and start producing it. It is going to cost you the comfort of the hedge and the protection of the almost commitment. Pay the cost. It is worth it. On the other side of a real decision is a man who knows what he is because he stopped trying and started doing. And that man is worth becoming. This is built, not felt by the rice code. I'll see you all in the next episode.